What's up guys, Hetap here, and today I have a tips and tricks video for you, but at the end I'm kind of doing a rant, ramble kind of thing where I just kind of talk about my journey in Apex and how things went the way they did. I think that's kind of interesting, and maybe it'll give you some perspective about how I see Apex and why I'm giving the tips and tricks that I am. So if you enjoyed the tips and tricks, hopefully you'll check out the rant, story, whatever you want to call it, but we'll get right into the tips and tricks. I'll catch you on the flip side. So obviously combat's a huge part of a battle royale first person shooter like Apex. Like it's staple. It's the main reason you're playing, because you like the combat. But maybe you're struggling a little bit in your fights. Maybe you're losing a little bit more than you want to, or you're losing all the time. Maybe you're like me and sometimes you just have beef with O2, oxygen, and you're just tired of shooting oxygen all the time, and you want to shoot other people. You're tired of just laying into the air. So one of the big things I always preach when it comes to combat is hip firing. Hip firing is a huge part of Apex. Like if you're going to be good at Apex, you have to get good at close range combat. Like you can avoid the long range combat, you can avoid the long bows, you can avoid the G7s for the most part. Like towards the end game, it's harder when the space is more confined, but for the majority of the game, you can rotate and you can leave those fights if you don't feel comfortable taking them. But eventually, you're going to have to fight a team. And the majority of the fighting is done up close in buildings, close quarter fights outside. And one of the biggest sticking points for a lot of players is they ADS way too much. It hurts their tracking. Like when somebody's trying to give you a hug with their gun, it's just really hard to track them when you're aiming down sights. Like it's better to hip fire. It's really better to just start fights off up close in hip fire and then kind of go into an ADS. Kind of like this.
It's just this one. I hit her for 10.
So yeah, that's just kind of a little trick I use when I don't know whether I should ADS or hip fire. I kind of go in between both of them. And if one's working more than the other, I'll stick with it. Or sometimes I'll just float in between both like I did there. So I know I'm going to get asked this question about sensitivity, so I'll go ahead and get it out the way. Sensitivity is subjective, and people have different things they're comfortable with, so I'm not really all about giving out a specific sensitivity. But a general rule of thumb I have with sensitivity is if it's not tight but fluid, and it kind of needs adjusting. So like up close, like you want to be able to stay on your target but be able to track. That's what I mean by like tight but fluid. And the last thing about combat is make sure you're utilizing your weapons the way they need to be utilized. So if you have a shotgun or a submachine gun, do not go into a close range fight with your marksman weapon or your assault rifle out. Like if you are pushing and you know you're going to be in close range combat, you need to have the shotgun or the submachine gun out, and vice versa. Don't poke with your submachine gun or shotgun. Is going to get you killed. Like be efficient in combat. Use the weapons the way they were intended to be used. So obviously if there's combat, you're taking damage, so you're going to need to heal. And please heal. Please listen to me right now. Heal all your damage. If I don't care if it's like one hit, like please heal it, shield it, whatever. Please full heal. That one health may come back. You don't know how many times I see teammates not full healing, and it's a pet peeve of mine. It's just full heal. It takes like 4 seconds to hit a syringe, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. I don't know. It's not that long of a time. Like just do it, please. Like it'll save your life, I swear. Another big one is healing during combat. So you're probably wanting to know how to bat or heal in general during combat. So let's say your shield gets knocked. Remember how long it takes to hit a shield battery. Okay, do you remember? Because I don't. I'm pretty sure it's like 4 or 5 seconds though. But the time is irrelevant for now. But I'm pretty sure it's 5 seconds. We'll take 5 seconds since it's the longer of the two. So you need to create distance. Distance is huge when healing. Distance and space, like they're interchangeable. You need to create space. You need to create distance. That will allow you to hit a bat in 5 seconds. So if it takes 5 seconds to hit a bat, you need to create 5.1 seconds of distance or space so you can get that off. And eventually it'll become kind of second nature, especially when you're like listening to audio and the cues to know whether you're being chased or not. And I know, ha 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 ha, audio and Apex. Well, that'll never go wrong. But sometimes it works, and it's really just your best bet on whether you know to hit a bat or not. But also keep in mind the kind of legends you're going up against. Like if there's movement legends such as Octane or Pathfinder, you're going to have to kind of get more creative with how you create that space and distance, because they can close it and kind of shorten the distance between you and them a lot quicker than other legends. So that's really the main thing you need to focus on, creating space and distance, and then kind of keeping your eyes and ears out on whether the 5 seconds is actually safe or not. And the last couple things I'll say about healing is please always heal your shields first if you can. Like those go quicker than syringes and medkits and things like that. And also, when you're in your heal wheel, make sure you always have your shields equipped, so that way you're not wasting time trying to switch to your shields or whatever you're trying to get to. Bats, make sure you always have your bats on. If you have bats, make sure you always have your cells on if you have your cells, so that way you can just go, click the button, you're already on what you need, and you can heal a lot quicker than trying to like spam, maybe go through the heal wheel a little bit slower than you need to be, wasting like 3 or 4 seconds, which is big in Apex. So yeah, that's just the last thing I'll say about healing. So now we move on to looting, which obviously you need before you can start your combat and your healing process. So looting priority is the first topic we're going to cover. And we're going to start from the very beginning, when you're dropping. When you're dropping and there's nobody around, feel free to take your time looting. Like, go ahead. Loot everything you can and possibly will. But when there's people around, and you know you're going to get into a gunfight, if you have looted a bin or two and have a weapon, you need to be ready for a fight. I cannot tell you how many times I catch people overlooting when I land on them. Like they'll hit a bin, maybe they don't get the gun they want or they're looking for more, and then I'll just run them down while they're looting. They won't hear me because they're so caught up in trying to find something or loot that they're a free kill. Easy kill. So let's talk about looting while you're getting third party. So let's say you just finished a fight and you know you're going to get third party. The top priority is making sure you get shield. A shield swap, a shield bat, like whatever. Like you get those things out the box. And then you make sure you have ammo. Like shield swap, bats, ammo, you're good to go. Like if you think you have time, you can grab health heals if you have zero. But if you have even just like a couple syringes or just one med kit, you're good to go. You need to go win this fight. Like you cannot stay in the box looting. And now we'll talk about organization of your backpack. So we'll start off with the easy things. Health heals, I always keep the minimum, like 4 syringes, 2 med kits. Like that's none of that, 1 stack of each. Cells, I try to keep 2 stacks. I'll get 3 if I have space, or if I have gold armor, I'll take 3 stacks. Bats, I hoard bats. Bats are the most valuable resource in the game. Listen to me. Hoard the bats. People are always asking for bats. People are always looking for bats. Make sure you have the bats. And then ammo wise, if I'm carrying like a submachine gun or assault rifle, like 180 to 240. If I'm carrying like a wingman or a sniper, like 2 stacks. 3 stacks maybe if I have the space. If I have a shotgun, an EVA 8, I'll carry 2. Maybe a Mozam 2, I'll carry 2 stacks. PK Mastiff, just 1 stack. And grenades are always a filler. I always make sure at least I have, I'd like to have at least 1, maybe 2, just depending on the situation in my bag. But that's really how I like to organize my bag. But hoard the bats. Please, please, please. Keep all the bats to yourself. Loot them out the box first, if you don't need a shield swap. So yeah, those are the 3 biggest areas that somebody trying to improve in needs to make improvements at: your close range combat, your healing, and your looting. Like, I know that's like simple and not like in depth or anything, but really to start off, you need to start building a good foundation. And these are like tips and tricks to like Start building good habits, start building good practices, so that way you're doing the little things that make yourself better at Apex. Like, yeah, if your aim sucks, it's gonna suck, but that's more like muscle memory and just time and practice. But where these are like actual like things you need to do in the game that are easy to do, like hip firing and learning how to hip fire, an easy addition to your game. Learning when to hit your bats and heal and things like essential. And another thing, if you take time to learn, is an easy thing to learn. And learning the loot, it's a really good skill to have that'll like streamline your like efficiency and like help you get in and out of fights better, help you stave off third parties and even win third party fights, and just like things that'll start building yourself as a good Apex player. But one last thing I want to say before we get into like my rant about Apex and my journey about Apex. Always have a good mindset going into Apex. I know Apex is hard and frustrating at times, but if you put negative energy out there, it's kind of hard to like make positive gains in Apex, if you know what I'm saying. So like if you're like tilted or upset, maybe taking a break from the game or finding something else to do for a little bit and then coming back. Like the playlist is a really good way to blow off steam. Team Deathmatch, Control, Gun Run, they're not like super competitive. I know there's like sweaty 3 stacks in there sometimes, but if you're just looking for a break from VR, like I think that's a good break. Firing range for maybe 5-10 minutes. But above all else, just believe in yourself and know that you can improve at the game if you keep working at it, if that's something you want to do. It's something I wanted to do, and it took a long time to get to where I'm at. It took me 10 plus seasons. But if you guys want more in-depth stuff, like there's a lot like of like advanced stuff like I can get into. Like there's just so much about Apex that goes into being really good at Apex that I just didn't want to cover here. I kind of just wanted to make a general video about improving in like big areas of the game that a lot of like newer players and maybe average players tend to struggle at and maybe need to look at and reevaluate and look at again. So I just wanted to cover some simple, relatively easy to learn things. But if you want more things, like I can go over ranked stuff and how to rank up in ranked, how I ended up getting like diamond essentially every season. I can probably rank up into masters if I wanted to. I just haven't tried. Or if you just want to know how to be better in fights, or if you just want to know, hey, how do you know this is going to happen? How do you know this is going to happen? Like things like that, like game sense things. Like I can try to talk about that if that's something you guys want to hear about. But other than that, that's all I have for you right now outside of my rant. But I appreciate you guys listening if you made it up this far, and I hope you enjoy my rant about Apex. So, yeah, thank you guys, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Just want to rant about Apex, and kind of how my experience with it has gone. So maybe you can kind of understand and see where I'm coming from when I give you those tips and tricks later. So Apex Legends came out in 2019. Wasn't on my radar. Didn't even think about playing it. I had played Fortnite, and I didn't enjoy Fortnite too much. So like battle royales just weren't really on my radar. Really, FPSs, first-person shooters in general, really weren't on my radar. I was playing a lot of NBA 2K back then. A lot of my friends were, so that's what I was doing. But eventually, one of my friends said, "Hey, we've been playing this game called Apex Legends, and I think you should try it." So I was like, I haven't played an FPS in a while. I don't think I've played. I think the last FPS I played was Overwatch, and I played that for a while. I played that for like 6 months, and then eventually it just wasn't something I wanted to play anymore. So it had been like since 2017, so it was like a 2-year break in between from when I played first-person shooters. My first official season was like season 2, but I played like 12 games. Like that was it. That's all I played. And I remember being so bad at the game. Like I played season 3. I played like 2 games of season 3, and I was like, man, this kind of sucks. I don't want to play it. So I didn't play it. So that was like in December of 2019 when season 3 came out. Roll around February 2020, the same friends like, hey, it's a game we can all play together. You, me, and Dallas, who I play with now. And I was like, you know what? I'll give it another try. I was just wanting to play with my friends. So we ended up playing Apex, and this time for some reason, I don't know what happened the first couple of times, but it's just ended up being a game I fell in love with, and I've been playing ever since. Well, that's not technically true, but I'll get there. So in season 4 is my first official season, and that's the season you see in the thumbnail. I struggled so much, like looking back on it. I wish I had some of my old clips from my PS4 I could show you, but it was so bad. I could tell that I hadn't played a FPS in a while. I'm not really an FPS guy. Like, I'm more of like a story adventure, first one player kind of game. You know, Resident Evil is one of my favorite series of all times. I played sports games, stuff like that. So when I actually got back into it, it was one of the craziest experiences I've ever had. Like, Apex just is so fast. It was so different from anything I ever played. Like, the movement, the gunplay, the heroes, all of it was just like a perfect concoction to get me back into first-person shooters. So I ended up that season, I think I did, like, my averages were okay. When I first started, they were like 0.5, 0.6, which is pretty bad. But I grinded the game. I think season 4 is my most games played ever. I think I played like 1,700 games in that season. It was a big grind. But I loved the game. I loved the game, and I grinded it, and I wanted to get better. Like, so the 3 of us that were playing, we all weren't super great at the game. So it was like a fun time. But like, I'm a competitive person. I want to get better at things that I do. So eventually, I ended up branching out. They didn't want to play with me as much anymore. So I played a lot of solo from like season 5 to like season 7. Like, a lot of solo games. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot playing solo. I learned how to play within the team without calming. I don't like getting on a mic. I like being in a party and chilling with everybody. On PlayStation, that's still what I do. Even on Discord now, that is on PlayStation. We just get in Discord and chill. I'm never really a big calmer. So I was struggling. Season 4, I hit gold. Season 5 and 6, I was plat. And I was determined in season 7 to hit diamond. So season 4, I had like a 1.2 KD. Season 5, I had a 1.5. Season 6, I had a 1.7. And then the big season to me, like a big milestone for me, which was in season 7, I hit 2 KD. Or I was close to it. I think I was like 1.97, which was close to me. Which all this was just soloing. So like gradually, I just kept seeing the progress. And in season 7, I soloed the diamond. Like, it was like something I really wanted to do. Like, I have a picture of it. I'm gonna put it up right now. I have a picture of it that I took and I sent to everybody because it was such a grind. Something like I was really proud of. It was like a big accomplishment for me. So fast forward to season 8, and like the next goal was to like stay over 2KD. Like, that was a big goal for me, was to stay over a 2KD. And I think I averaged like 600 damage in like a 2KD. And I hit diamond again, but I was duoing with somebody else that came around in season 7. Season 9 rolls around, and I get a PC. But for some reason, like, I just couldn't bring myself to play Apex on my PC because of cross progression. Like, I just couldn't leave all my stuff from PlayStation to just start fresh on PC. Like, I had grinded. I put all that time in. I think I put like a good like 1,000 hours between all those. So, and I bought an heirloom in season 8, and then season 9 comes around, you know, and I couldn't bring myself to leave. So season 9 and season 10, I played some at the beginning of season 9. I played like 10 games, and then I played some on my PC. But season 10, I completely skipped. So there was like a good 6-month period in between where I just wasn't playing. So I come back season 11. I didn't even want to come back. Like, I got asked again by the same friend who's brought me back every time to come play Apex. They started playing Apex again. They hadn't been playing Apex for a while, but they wanted me to play Apex. So I come back, and I think, you know, it's been like 6-7 months since I played, so I think I'm just gonna be awful. And Arenas is around by this time, so that's where we start. That's what they wanted to play. Because Arenas was supposed to be easier. It was supposed to be easier to ease into, and everything like that. And then Winter Express was around, so we played a lot of that. They love Winter Express. So I come back season 11. Ash is out. They say, you're going to be a great Ash. Like, Ash is, like, so good. So I start playing Ash. Ash is actually the first character I got my 4K with. So I come back after 7 months. I get my first 4K. I get my heirlooms, and I somehow improved at the game in between my 7-month period of not being in the Apex scene, which was crazy to me. So season 11, I end up in Diamond again, and I fall in love with Apex all over again. Season 12, like this is gonna sound bad because everybody always shits on this season for being so easy. But the season I actually commit time into ranked, because I'm not a ranked grinder. Like, it's just, I like playing with my friends, and like none of them have ever really been on that level. I commit to making it to Masters that season. Honestly, it wasn't hard. And I was playing in Pred lobbies, and I got pretty far up into Masters. I think I got to 11, 12, and then it all came crashing down because I just didn't care anymore. So season 12, I got a Masters badge season 12. Season 13, 14, and 15 were all just grinding. And this one I really thought, maybe I could get into the YouTube scene. Like, season 14 is, I think, when I started. Maybe it ended season 13 is really when I started. But season 11, I had a 2.3. Season 12, I took a step back because I grinded a lot of ranked. I think I ended up with a 2.2. And then season 13 was going really well. Like, season 13 was like, I was blowing through it, like the best I've ever felt on Apex. And then I switched and bought a Scuff. So I bought a Scuff, and like for some reason the switch just felt really bad at first. Like, I got the elongated sticks and the paddles, and it just wasn't me. I'm not a paddle guy. I'm not like an elongated stick guy. I found this out. But I ended up still doing really good that season, and I go to like a 2.5 or whatever. I was at like a 2.8, and it dropped down to a 2.8 or a 2.5. So season 14 comes around, and season 14 is one of my least played seasons. Like, there was a lot going on. It was in the summer. I was at the beach. I was in Atlanta. I was doing a lot of stuff, but it ended up being like one of my best seasons. I think I ended up with a 2.7. So season 15 comes around, the new season. Like, I'm getting into all this YouTube stuff. Like, I really want to grind. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. Like, I don't know if I'm like good enough to where it's just straight gameplay you guys just want to watch. Like pub stomp, rank stomp, like whatever. But I think like what I've really found out is like I'm good at telling stories. Like, all my videos I've done well is just me like telling stories throughout my Apex journey. And I really think that's like the direction like I want to take things. That's why I'm kind of just sitting down and like talking to you guys right now. And I promise like the tips and tricks about how I improved and everything is coming. So season 15, I ended up with like a 2.4. So like, see, from season 11 to season 15, like it was just wall. Like, there wasn't like much improvement. It was like kind of up and down, which progress sometimes is like in growth is like never linear or like always positive. Like, sometimes there's some dips that need to happen so you can grow. And then it kind of just all came together in season 16. Like, I switched to Loba, and I've seen nothing but like positive results from it. And that's what you see on the right side, which obviously is like a small sample, and it's like 70 kills in like 30 games or whatever. But I've maintained it, and I'll put it up there. Like, it's not like 3.16 or whatever is in the thumbnail. It's like a 3. But I'm still like really proud of it. Like, I've never had like a 3 in any game I've ever played. Like, I've played Gears 2, Gears 3, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 3, and Overwatch, and now Apex. And like, I've always been like decently good at those games, but like I've never like been into those games more than like 6 months to a year, because something else just comes out. But Apex has been around for 4 years, and I've played 10 plus seasons of it. So naturally, you would think Like you would get that good at some point, but it doesn't always happen. And that's why I kind of wanted to just share some advice, some tips, some things you can improve on, because, these are things that I learned that I needed to improve on. So hopefully there are things you might need to know so you can improve on it and become as good as you want to be at Apex.